Hello everybody, I'm Miss Trish. I'm one of the RE teachers for UU St. Petersburg, and I'm here with the RE lesson for the 27th of September. And I'm going to light the chalice so we can get started. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This week's lesson is entitled Renew and Repair Your Relationships. And also Sunday, this Sunday the 27th, at sunset, Yom Kippur, which is a very important holiday in the Jewish religion, begins. So, as a covenantal religion, our faith places relationships and promises to each other at the center of our faith. And since we're human, we sometimes break those promises and hurt those relationships. So, renewal and repair is necessary and sacred work. What's one of the ways that we are becoming more of a people of renewal? Well, we get comfortable with the work of renewal and repair. And I have an object to help us think about that. This is a baseball, and it's used to play the game baseball. So what happens in baseball? Somebody throws the ball, somebody else tries to hit it with the bat, somebody in the outfield tries to catch it, and there's a lot of mistakes you could make playing that game. For example, you could miss and not hit the ball. You could accidentally hit the person with the ball. You could hit a car, a building. You could even break a window. So, if a mistake like that happens, we have to own up to it. We have to admit we made the mistake and say that we're sorry. And sometimes we can do something to repair it. And when we do those things, we also feel renewed. We feel better and like we're given a fresh start and a new chance. Is there someone in your family who plays one of those sports that need a ball, like baseball, t-ball, soccer, golf, tennis, volleyball? If so, you could ask them if they've ever made a mistake while they were playing that sport and what they did to make up for their mistake. Maybe somebody in your family was raised Jewish, or maybe you have a friend that still observes the Jewish practices. They might be able to tell you about their experiences of observing Yom Kippur and what it taught them about forgiveness. In the Jewish faith, Yom Kippur begins at sundown on Sunday, September 27th. Today's story is about forgiveness. And while I read it in a book named The Hardest Word by Jacqueline Jules, I'm going to tell it in my own words. You could check the book out of the library, or you could watch it on YouTube. And it's a really good Yom Kippur story. And if you have an adult there to talk about it with, it's even better. Once upon a time, the whole world was filled with magical creatures. One of those creatures was a gigantic bird called the Ziz, and he was so big. He was bigger than the biggest airplane you've ever seen, and he had golden wings and a huge purple feather sprouting right out of his forehead. He was amazing to look at, and he loved to fly through the air while all the kids below looked up and admired him. And he loved those kids too. One day, as he was zooming around, flying up, 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 and down, 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 and all around, and he was flying the very best he could. He had his wings stretched way out, and then suddenly, oops, his wing touched a star and knocked it right out of the sky, and it fell all the way down to earth. Ooh, made a big hole in the surface of the earth, and the Z's went, oh, what a mistake I made. How am I ever going to fix that? Well, he had no idea. So he flew back up into the sky, and he was flying around thinking about it when all of a sudden, oh no, his other wing hit a rain cloud and knocked it out of the sky, and it flew all the way down, and it landed in that hole with a big old splash. And a brand new swimming pool for the kids was created. Well, the Z's was thrilled with how that worked out, and he was pretty proud of himself. So he started flying around again, and he was big and beautiful, but he was kind of clumsy. He was thinking about his flying and not looking where he was going, and his wing accidentally knocked down a tree, and that tree fell and smashed the vegetable garden that the kids had been taking care of so they could grow their very own fruits and veggies. Well, the Z's felt really, really bad. So he did what I sometimes do. He went and hid. He had a special place that he could hide on top of a mountain where he had a perch. And he hid out there hoping that nobody would find him. But while he was hiding, the Z's heard God's voice. And God said, hey Z's, what's going on? And Z said, oh God, I just made the biggest mistake and I don't know how to fix it. And he told God about the tree and the garden. And God said, oh, that's pretty bad. And I don't know what you could do to fix it. And the Z's said to God, well, what do you think I should do? And God said, what you have to do is you have to go out into the world and look high and low until you find the world's hardest word and bring it back. So the Z's agreed to do that, and he had a mission. He stretched out his beautiful wings and he flew and flew until he came to a little house near a river where a mommy was getting her little boy ready for bed. And the little boy said, Mommy, I don't want to go to sleep. And the mommy said, well, I'm sorry, honey, but it's bedtime. And the little boy got even angrier and said, no, I don't want to go to sleep. You ever done that? Well, the mommy said, I'm sorry, honey. And she turned out the light and left the room. Well, the Z said, I've got it. The hardest word is good night. And he flew all the way back and he told God, I've got the hardest word. It's good night. And God said, well, some kids really don't like to hear that, but it's not the world's hardest word. So Ziz took off again and flew all around the world until he found a daddy getting dinner ready for his little girl. And the little girl said, Daddy, can we please have biscotti? And the daddy said, I'm sorry, honey, but we're having meatloaf. And besides, the word is spaghetti. And the little girl said, That's what I said. Biscotti. And the Z's thought, that's the hardest word. So he flew all the way back to God and he said, God, I've got it. The hardest word is spaghetti. And God said, that's a pretty hard word, all right, but that's not the hardest word. So the Z's took off again and he flew all over the place and he found all kinds of really hard words and he brought them back to God. Hard words like rhinoceros and ridiculous and rudimentary. And God said each time, I'm sorry, but that's not the world's hardest word. And the Z's got so upset. His big, beautiful wings drooped, and his beautiful purple feather drooped. He was so disappointed with himself that he couldn't find the hardest word. And he said, God, I've looked everywhere, and I can't find it. I'm sorry. And God said, congratulations, you found it. That's the hardest word. And the Z's said, what do you mean? And God said, I'm sorry. It's really hard for people to say sometimes when they've made a mistake or they've done something wrong. Instead, a lot of times they try to fix it before they get caught or they run and hide. Sometimes it's really hard to say I'm sorry because there's nothing you can do to fix it. So the Z's thought, and then he knew what he had to do. First, he flew to his own vegetable garden and he took a big basket and he gathered up lots of fruits and veggies. And then he flew back to the kids and he gave him the basket with his fruits and veggies to help make up for the ones that they'd smashed. He really cared for the kids. And he took a real deep breath. And he admitted what had happened and he said the world's hardest words. I'm sorry. I hope that you can find ways to say you're sorry when you've made a mistake or you've said something wrong, because it's really worth it to feel renewed and repaired and to give your friends and family a chance to forgive. Hope to see you next time. Bye for now.